Welcome to Veteran to Veteran. I'm Conrad Kaskowski with the American Legion Post here in Plymouth, Wisconsin, Ladwig Zinkrab Post 243, and with me is also a member of the Post and County Commander, Dwayne Wick. Now, in the past, we've talked about our hats and stuff like that. He's wearing something special, and because this is a special show, and it's dedicated to a veterans program called Honor Flight. And Dwayne, in a short while, is going to talk about his experiences on Honor Flight. But first of all, notice his jacket, and
Yep.
how much did that cost you?
Nothing. They give all of the veterans that are on the Honor Flight a jacket, a shirt. The actual shirt color determines what era you were in. So this blue color is of the Vietnam era. The Korean color was just a little bit darker, and we had one World War II veteran that was on the flight, and his was just a bit darker yet. So,
You know, Dwayne, I just said Honor Flight, and people are going, what? Honor Flight? Honor Flight Network is a national nonprofit organization comprised of independent hubs working together to achieve the Honor Flight mission. Participation in an Honor Flight trip gives veterans the opportunity to share their momentous occasions with other comrades, remembering the fallen, and share their stories and experiences with other veterans. Honored veterans always travel free of charge thanks to generous donations to this organization. Now, Honor Flight was created in 2005 by Jeff Miller and Earl Morris with a simple yet powerful mission: honoring our nation's veterans by bringing them to Washington, D.C. to visit the memorials built to commemorate their services and sacrifice. While initially focused on America's World War II veterans, Honor Flight Networks has expanded its mission to include those who served in the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and veterans of any service era who are critically ill. You know, veterans have already sacrificed enough and given so much through their service to our country. Therefore, they do not have to pay for this trip. All expenses for their honor flight are covered. Now, flights are funded by donations from individuals, corporations, foundations, and other groups who wish to be an important part of honoring these heroes and recognize the need to get their veterans to see their memorial before it's too late. There is absolutely no funding is received from the federal government or any state governments. Dwayne will talk about a guardian, and there's a guardian that go along. They do pay a $500 fee in order to be an escort to the veteran. So with all that being said, Dwayne, tell us about your honor flight.
okay. Well, first of all, what a day it was. This was October 7th of last year. And first I'd like to thank the Stars and Stripes organization for the wonderful gift that it is that's given to veterans. And it's a welcome home that we did not receive at the time that we were discharged during that Vietnam era. My brother and I served active duty together at the same time, 70 and 71, and I was in the Army, he was in the Navy, and I felt that we actually left 2 weeks apart. So both of us were gone off the farm. It was quite a shock to the family, especially my mother. And I figured since we had left and served at the same time, that it would be fitting for us to go on the honor flight together. So I asked him about it, and he said, yeah. So we both signed up for that, and I'll talk a little bit about that after a while, how to do that. Now, the first slide there'll be some slides throughout as I'm talking here. The first slide that'll be shown was as we flew out of Green Bay. There were 3 flights that day. I chose to go out of the Green Bay, Wisconsin flight. There were 2 out of Milwaukee. The two out of Milwaukee were sponsored by the Brewers and also the Bucks. Our flight was sponsored by the Packers. So on that day, October 7th, when we flew out, it's a day that we always remember. I chose my daughter Stacy as my guardian, and my brother chose his grandson Cody. We had to arrive at the airport at 4 a.m. in the morning, so it was a very early start, and we returned into Green Bay at 8:30. Our flight had 1 World War II veteran, 2 Korean, and 68 Vietnam veterans on board, plus all the guardians and staff. So there were quite a few people involved with this whole thing. As I said before, there were 2 flights out of the Milwaukee area. Ours was the Packers sponsored, so they also sent along 3 Packer alumni that accompanied us that day. We flew into Dallas International, and there were a line of people there that welcomed us, and it just went on and on and on. It was just tremendous. Younger people, younger kids, older people, there were just hundreds, and of all ages. So, and that part of it was very emotional to have walk down that line and just continuously have people to welcome you and thank you. The next stop, or the first stop that we did, was at the Air Force Memorial. So there should be a slide showing a little of the Air Force Memorial. This is the newest of the memorials. There are 3 spires that are 270 feet tall that are the focal point, and they go up and spread out. Some say that it's kind of almost a simulation of the flight of the missing man flight as they separate. Our next stop was at Arlington, where there are over 400,000 veterans and eligible dependents that are buried there. We viewed the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. From there, we went to the Franklin D. Roosevelt Memorial, which was honoring our 32nd president, and the Martin Luther King Memorial, which was very close to it, that we could just quickly walk over to that. And we had 4 buses that moved to the different memorials, and the next stop that we did was the National Mall. They dropped us off at one end of the mall. We walked to the, which is very close to the entrance of the World War II Memorial, and then from there we walked to the Vietnam and the Korean memorials. So the next slide would be standing in front of the Wisconsin monument, part of that World War II memorial. And each one of the states was represented, so us being from Wisconsin, we had our picture taken in front of that part of the memorial. As we walked to the other end of the mall, we went to the Vietnam wall, and there we located 4 names of local veterans that had passed away during the Vietnam War. The next slide then would be the Lincoln Memorial, where we actually just quickly walked over to see that, and also the Korean War Memorial. From there, that was the end of our day. We jumped on the bus, took a ride back to Dulles again. We landed back in Green Bay. As I had said, was around 8:30 in the evening. And we were greeted with warm reception from, again, hundreds of people that take their time to come there and welcome everybody back from their flight. There was a high school band there, bagpipers, Boy Scouts, reservists that were in uniform, and just many of the local people from the Green Bay area. Many states now participate in honor flights. Wisconsin has 6 hubs that you can fly out of. We happen to choose the Green Bay hub. If you're interested in going on the Stars and Stripes honor flight, you can just Google starsandstripeshonorflight.org, all one word, and it will come up and you'll see apply to fly. If you are a veteran, you will go onto the tab for veteran, and it will show you the eligibility for it to make sure that you're eligible. And and then you will fill out the application, which takes just a matter of a few minutes. It's really quickly. If you want to be a guardian and support one of the veterans, you go to that same apply to fly and go on the Guardian tab, and then again follow the instructions. So that day was so well organized. They of course done many of these flights, but all of the time was well planned out. You had your meal on the bus so that you weren't using any of the time inefficiently, and the day went very quickly. It was just an amazing day. So that was my day.
Well, probably another question regarding people that may not be able to walk as much as you were talking about. They do provide wheelchairs, correct?
They do. They ask you in the application. They will ask you about your mobility, and that is the main part of the Guardian, that they make sure that they're supposed to be within an arm's length of you all day long, or helping you with the wheelchair. My brother needed to use the wheelchair occasionally, not the whole day. So when he felt good, he walked, and when he didn't, he just got into a wheelchair, and his guardian pushed him around.
And I guess I'd finally like to ask, can spouses go on honor flight?
The spouses cannot be the guardian. It has to be actually one generation separation as your guardian. So in the case of my daughter being the guardian, that qualified, and my brother's grandson.
But of course, if they're a veteran in one of the eras, they would
If the spouse is, and then they would have their own guardian. Right.
Okay, I think you answered all of the who, what, where, and how to get involved in the honor flight. And as you said to other people, you encourage people to go on and take advantage of this and see what has happened. If you've never been to Washington D.C. or you have not been there in quite a while, there's a lot of changes.
Yes.
So.
And they are. I just got an email again this week saying that they are looking for veterans. So apply.
Okay. You heard it. So that's our show for this time. Again, if I know a lot of people do know us and you know how to get a hold of us, you got an idea, we'd greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate you watching this show and taking your time out, and hopefully we were able to give you some more information about the honor flight. Thank you. Take care, and at this time of the year, stay warm.
Yes.